product development as well as implementations of various OBIA projects as well as ETL and OBIA projects. Basically, I started as a ETL developer with Informatica. Later, I moved on to ODI, OBIA, and implementation side. Okay, that's about myself. About today's session, we'll quickly touch upon the basic concepts of OBIA and any questions about the structure of this course. Anything like what is your background and what is the requirement, anything of those questions if you have, I will take it. This session will be roughly around 30 minutes plus the question and answers. Fine. Let's begin with the introduction about this product, like having a overview. What is OBIA means, right? So many people will ask me these questions: is OBIA and OBIA are same, right? So like, what is the difference? What is that product itself? OBIA is out-of-the-box data warehouse. What do you mean by out-of-the-box data warehouse? What is data warehouse? So whenever we have a transaction systems, OLTP transaction systems, to understand in which direction our business is going towards, to understand it, to understand the trend, to get the insights of the business, we have a business intelligence. Right? To get such reports, dashboards, etc., we need to build data warehouse from the scratch. We have to read the online transaction systems, build the ETL, build the reports on top of that. So here OBIA is the out-of-the-box warehouse, which is BI apps, which is available for us. What does it mean? It means there are so many systems around us, right? There are so many ERP systems, there are so many CRM systems, HCM systems, right? There are so many systems around us. Probably there is a, say there's a big organization which is using a ERP system. There is one more organization which is using a similar ERP system. That means the internal metadata what is available will be same in both organizations. The structure, I mean, when I say data, the metadata structure, correct? So if one organization wants to build a warehouse, they have to build their own ETL and build the reports. The second organization also have to do the same thing on the same metadata structure. So the underlying principle is the structure, the store system structure will be same on both organizations as long as they're using the same product, the same version, right? Like that, there are many systems, source systems which are around us. So that is the baseline for this product. Since there are many commonly used products, so why cannot we have adapters for all those things which can be used, which can be plugged into any environment which is using the same version of the product and build the reports on top of that. So that is the OBIA all about. So that is a pre-built warehouse which is available, which can be plugged into any source system using the adapters which are available and light up the dashboard. So there are many dashboards, there are many reports which are available out of the box. On top of that, that can be highly customizable. You can say if there is a report which is probably not, you want to add more metrics into it, or maybe you want to build a one report of your own, that time also we can build one more report. So it can be customized at any level. It can be customized at ETL level or reporting level. So this is about the product overview. and we will learn more about the customizations, etc. in upcoming sessions. So it can be it can be used ERP systems, CRM systems, but within ERP there are so many analytics which are available. So there is a resource planning analytics, right? These are the ERP, the analytics which are under the resource planning analytics. See, there is a HCM, manufacturing, procurement, project, supply chain, student analytics. There are many things which are available. So anyone here who worked on the source systems probably will be aware there are these modules are available in the ERP, right? So what will be there, right? So if we take example of financial analytics, right? There are many things. There will be subledgers, ledgers, APs, account receivables, accounts payables, right? Fixed assets. There are many things, many modules which are there inside of financial analytics, right? So probably there will be some companies which are using only the GS and APs. They may not be using ARs, right? So account receivables. That those modules for each thing there will be. I mean, it can be called as a subject area. There will be modules which are available, and there will be reports which are related to each subject area, each module, right? So like this, if we take example of procurement and spend analytics, there are um, metrics, dashboards, reports which are available, which would help you to understand your process. What is the performance, or like what is the supplier performance, like where your money is going, like on what portion, right? On what objects you are spending more, right? You are analyzing your spend, right? So what are you procuring more? What are you procuring less? What is the performance? If you take a supplier, like how many days he's taking to raise invoice, like how much time he's taking to deliver, right? What is this? Everything can be captured. All the insights can be captured. So for this, there are readily available reports. Okay, so this is about two two analytics I covered, but there are many analytics which are available. There is a marketing analytics, there is a sales analytics, there is a HCM related analytics, there is a projects analytics, there are many student analytics, there are many analytics which are available. So this product as a whole have all the analytics, but as a customer, like there may be very less chances where I need all of them, but I may need, say, I'm a manufacturing company, right? I need analytics which are related to the manufacturing. Maybe I'm a college or a university. I need the analytics only related about the academics. That's the student analytics, right? So I can buy only those particular services. Um, in fact, it is how it is plugged, right? There is a ETL layer on the one side. There is a reporting layer on the other side. That is, the ETL layer is ODI here, Oracle Data Integrator. That's a ELT tool which is available in the market. That is little different from the ETL tool which are already available. We learn about the tool as well. And on the reporting side, there we have OBIA. Okay, so there are various layers within the OBIA. Anyone who worked on the OBIA here will be aware. Meanwhile, as I continue in this session, could you please ping me over the chat and let me know like who all worked on the OBIA or ODI, right? Any detail, like just let me know your background so that I would understand like what is your current background and what are you expecting from this course. So we have a physical layer. In the OBIA, we'll have a semantic or a business layer and a presentation layer. So all these layers are there within the reporting layer of OBIA. So it can be customized at any level. It can be customized at the ETL layer, or it can be customized at a OBIA layer, and within that, even in the OBIA, it can be customized at physical or presentation or business layer in any way. So what is the advantage? So why should I procure OBIA when I can build a new data warehouse, right? So building a new data warehouse is not a easy. It's a I don't say it's a not easy task, but it takes its own speed, time, and the cost, right? So the total cost of ownership to build any brand new warehouse is high. We have to understand the source system. We have to understand what are the source systems, what are the source systems you want to bring into the warehouse, what are the metrics you want to analyze, what are the reports you want to build. After that, you have to do a modeling. Then you have to design the ETL. Then you have to design the report. You have to develop the ETL. You have to develop the reports. Then you have to plan the loads. You have to bring the data. You have to validate against the source, and then only you can roll out to the production. Right? Validation is very important because business intelligence products, there should be accuracy. Unless users don't have a trust on the system, they're not going to use those reports. Right? So the TCO, or the total cost of the ownership, will be high when you are building a system from the scratch. Whereas if you are using OBIA, there is a pre-built ETL layer, there is a pre-built reporting layer, there is a pre-built orchestration tool, right? Those the entire code is validated, right? All you need to do is plug into your current system. There are some configurations you need to do. Set, for example, the localization, setting the currencies, all those things you have to set up. What we are going to discuss here, how do we do this configuration and all, we are going to discuss. Then we use it. We run the loads regularly and light up the dashboards and use them, right? So this is the advantage of having a OBIA. So this is not, I'm just summarizing, but as we move on, as we go in depth, we try to understand what are the configurations we have to do, what are the functional configurations, what are the system configurations, how do we generate the load plan, how do you run them, how do you monitor them, how do you customize them, all those things we are going to discuss. I give a brief about those things in the upcoming slides as well. So this is the overview of OBIA. Let me quickly summarize. If you can see here, there are so many systems, right? Service, marketing, order management. These are the source systems. It could be of any kind, right? So we can build these reports, right? But everything comes from this model, right? Warehouse. And these things can be customized at any level. So for example, it could be there are various source systems which are, it could be a EBS, it could be a PeopleSoft, it could be a Siebel, right? It could be JD, it could be a flat files. There are so many source systems which are supported by OBIA. You can buy, say for example, there is a customer who is using UBS. Within EBS, he is using only the financials module. He can buy only that one and configure only those things and use them, right? So that is how it is. So as we move on, we can go more deeper into this and try to understand how they are different, and what as a developers, as a implementation specialist, right, as a consultant, how do we need to configure those, how do we run them, what is that we are going to do, what is our role. So understanding the product and how do we are going to implement and how do we customize, how do we change the mappings, how do we modify the reports, all those things we understand as we move on. Again, I told here the ETL tool is, the ELT tool is ODI. There are some primary differences between the ODI versus any other ETL tool which is available in the market. So can someone give examples of the tools, ETL tools which you are aware of? Anyone? You can ping me over the chat. Right, Informatica, right? This Informatica is one of the like very, very important tool, right? Very important ETL tool which is available in the market. So in fact, OBIA, the earlier versions of OBIA had Informatica as ETL layer. In the latest, that OBIA 11G version, that tool is replaced by ODI. So there is a difference, ETL versus the ELT. The concept, the underlying principles of ETL and ELT are different. As you are aware, ETL is extract, transform, and load. Right? We extract from the source, right? Some source systems. It could be anything. It could be EBS. It could be a PeopleSoft. It could be just a plain database. It could be a flat files. It could be Excel files, .txt files. It could be XML. Anything, right? Any source system we can bring. We transform. We apply some transformations on top of that. Probably we want to apply some filters. You want to concatenate first name and last name. You want to look up on something else. You want to sort, right? There are so many things which you can do. Maybe you want to do a pivoting. You want to do a transpose. There are many things what you can do and the transformations level, and then we load. Where do we load? We load into a destination. In most of the case, it could be a data warehouse or it could be anything, right? So we load into a target destination, right? But here the concept of ELT is slightly different because it will extract, that step is same as ETL, but we load. Where do we load? Right? We load into a temporary work tables and then we transform. Then we load into the actual final target. So when I say I load into work tables, what are work tables? How do we create them? How do we manage them? And what are the advantages of having the ELT versus ETL, right? So there are concepts what we are going to discuss, and this cannot be understood unless we know the basics of the ODI and architecture of the ODI. Right? So those things we are going to discuss in this course as well. So at least as a implementation specialist, before you do any customization, if you want to do any customization, you need to understand the existing code. You need to understand the tool, ODI tool as well, right? So those things, knowing the process is one thing, and you need to know the tool. You need to understand what is currently being done so that you can modify or add anything which is in sync with the existing code, right? So that's about the ELT. So we are going to discuss on those things as well. So whenever you're doing a customization or whenever you're understanding the OBIA, the module, you need to understand the tables, right? OBIA means Oracle Business Applications Warehouse tables. There is a fact dimensions which you are aware, many dimensions. What are helper tables, hierarchy tables? There is a concept of staging here. We read from the source, move into the staging, and finally we move into the final tables, the warehouse tables. So where do staging exist? How do we handle them? How do we link them with the final tables, right? What should be the load strategy for the staging? What should be the load strategy for the final tables? All those things we are going to discuss. There will be a common dimensions, conforming dimensions. How do we identify them? What is mean by common dimensions? What are the common dimensions which are available? So we need to understand the warehouse, the entire metadata structure, so that we can start with the customizations, any level. Like even if you are running a load and you see some load failures, or maybe some records are rejected, to troubleshoot that also you should be aware of the module, the model. We should be aware of those table structures, right? Coming to the ETL phases, there are there are there are three primary phases. I don't know if anyone have worked on any other versions of the OBIA earlier. That is same in all the versions, across the versions. There are SDE mappings, right? So they will have their own purpose, right? They're the source dependent. Like, what is mean by source dependent, right? Where do we, like, when we are doing the customizations, where do we do, right? And what are SILs? That's the source independent loads, right? Why do we need them? How do we run them? What is the order of the run execution? Then we have a PLPs, post-load process, right? What are those? How do we identify them? What's the purpose? What is the difference between other two phases and this one, right? So all those things we are going to discuss, and we are going to see them in the tool, right? We are going to see them in the ODI. Okay, so this is a overview of the process. We have a ODI agent which links between all these things. There will be a ODI repository, right? Since it's a ELT tool, it is a repository driven tool. There are two types of repository, on the master repository and the work repository. There's a difference between these two repositories, and there is a purpose for each repository. We need to understand, okay, what is the repository structure, and there is a link between this ODI metadata and our load plan generation tool, right? So what is the link? How do we troubleshoot? How do we configure? While configuring, what is that we need to understand, correct? And what are the configurations we have to do? How do we troubleshoot? All those things we discuss as we move on. Okay, so as I said, there is a pre-built ETL logic which is available. This is just a snapshot I have put here. So you can see there's there are mappings, there are so many adapters which are available, right? You can see there's a Fusion, JD, Oracle, various versions of the Oracle, PeopleSoft, right? All those things, all those adapters which are available, we may need to work on any of them. There will be cases organizations use different sources. They use PeopleSoft as well as EBS. Then in that such cases, how to handle, like how to customize, all those we need to understand. So whenever we start with the OBIA, see OBIA as a whole, it has two parts. That's OBIA and ODI. This is a combination of two. Most of the customizations, it could be either on the ETL side or it could be on the reporting side. So whenever there is a need to bring all the way from the source system to the dashboard, that's one thing, right? And there could be a customization requirement where we need to reuse the existing one and build something different, correct? So whenever we are handling the ETL, we need to understand what is project means, what is adapter means. Like as I was telling, what is adapter? Like there are so many adapters: Fusion adapter, JD adapter, there's a EBS, there's a PeopleSoft, there's a C. There are many adapters which are available. What are those? Within that, what are the various stages, that is phases? The source dependent, what is source independent, what is post load, right? What is scenario, what is package, right? What are knowledge modules, what are the existing knowledge modules? So we need to understand these things. It's nothing but knowing the ODI as well, right? So to get a better understanding of this whole product, we need to understand ODI and as well as OBIA. If you have knowledge of these two, like what we are going to cover in this course as well, then we need to understand this the product as a whole, right? There will be load plans. We like, if everything is set up, we are going to execute. There could be failures. There could be load plans which are running, maybe daily loads, weekly loads, based on your customization, based on your configuration. There will be loads which will be running, right? So we need to understand them. For example, if you are adding something new to the system, we need to add them to the system load plans which are already in place, right? So all those things we need to uh, understand. So as I said, that could be a multi-source environment, right? There may be two different versions of the same um, ERP, right? You may have a R12 and R11, for example, right? So those things we need to understand in case of different source systems. How do we handle? How do we differentiate them? How do we troubleshoot them? All those things we are going to cover. So this is a just a snapshot of a functional setup manager. As I said, we need to do a lot of functional setups, right? Uh, it's a part of the configuration. Whenever you set up and install OBIA, there will be a need to do a functional configuration. For example, what is the currency you're going to use, right? What is the language you're going to choose? So what are the offerings? Like it, as I said, probably you're using only few modules within HCM. What are those you're going to enable? How do you enable? Right? How do we orchestrate? If you're adding a new customization, like if you're adding, say, the entire uh, couple of packages into this existing ETL, and how do we configure? Say if you add it into the load plans, how do we come? What is that you're going to do in the functional manager or configuration, right? So the, we need to understand the relationship between each and everything so that we understand the whole product. So understanding OBI is nothing but understanding the the sub tools which are used inside the product and knowing the relationship, right? So that is about the functional manager. So uh, the final goal of any warehouse is we set up everything and we need to ensure that it will be running in a periodic manner, right? It could be daily, weekly, once in 2 days, once in 3 days, and so on, right? So everything is developed, we rolled out, then we define the load plan, we test it, we generate the load plan, test it, and execute, test it, validate it, then we monitor the load. Then finally we roll out to the production, and there also we need to monitor it. We need to monitor. So any failures in the system, maybe due to the code issues, it could be because of some key violation issues, it could be because of some unidentified characters, or it could be a space issue, table space issues. There are so many issues what comes when the daily loads are happening. So we need to troubleshoot, we need to understand. That also we do the exercise where we are going to define the load plan, generate the load plan, execute, see what are the issues we are going to face, and try to fix them, right? So this is about the whole product. We started with the introduction about the OBA, what do we need, what are the advantages, like how it is different from the existing ones, right? And how we are going to do customizations, right? What are the components we need to understand? All those things we covered. So in this course, we are not only understanding the product, we need to how do we configure, what are the various components inside that, how do we identify the helper tables, how do we identify the staging tables, how do we troubleshoot, right? All those things we are going to cover, and we are going to do hands-on as well. So um, that's all I had for today. I see a couple of people who are worked on OBEE. I see, yeah, 11G. So fine. Okay. Any questions? Please let me know. You can ping me over the chat, or you can speak up. Anything. It could be about the tool. It could be about the course, the structure. No, we don't have class tomorrow. Class will be on Tuesday. Yeah, installing everything on your laptop could be difficult. There will be VM which you can use for hands-on. Yeah, environment details will be shared later. Fine then. Right, that's correct. Yes, it will help. If you have experience on ODI and OBIA, you can pick it up. It's not a knowing any one of them is advantage. Even if you don't know either of them, and if you have a SQL knowledge, then also it will helpful. Yeah, if you have worked on any BI project on any using any ETL or even having a source system knowledge, all those things will help you. Fine then. If you don't have any questions, let's conclude for today. Thank you everyone for attending the demo session today, and have a nice rest of the day. See you again. Bye bye.